Hello tanks and tankettes, and welcome to another World of Tanks replay. And I explained the other day why we're having this little run of tanks games, but as of the day this goes out, I'll be heading back to my own home, and at that point I shall be working on the somewhat overdue supporter spotlight video, and probably Crusader Kings 2 tomorrow as well, because that's definitely overdue. So I thought I'd finish this little run of quick and dirty replays, not quite quick and dirty, but you know, quick replays anyway, with this game in the FCM, and it's a rather good matchup, but it's a rather unlikely map for success, because the FCM is known for having a very good gun and exceptional view range. But there's no soft cover on Himmelsdorf to use, really, so although that view range is going to come in useful sometimes, this is going to be a tricky map for this particular machine. But it is at least a good set of matchmaking circumstances, and most of the enemy team he can kill with 2 shots because it's a very good gun. So the FCM, if you're unaware, is pretty overpowered. It didn't quite start that way. It always had a good gun, it always had good view range, but over time there have been progressive changes to tank destroyers, including loss of view range globally. There's been I think a loss of penetration and damage. That was all like reworked rather extensively. I can't remember which patch. And they also had effectively nerfs to camo as well. They weren't able to use cover in the same way they were before, with just total impunity. But this being a premium, it wasn't really affected by a lot of those changes, so it's pretty damn strong these days. And there were certain maps where if you got this, you know, Province for instance, if you got this on Province, it was basically gold tier. You could spot practically the entire map. Now interestingly, the Befehlswagen here is actually using binoculars instead of coated optics. With coated optics you can get 440 meters, but obviously with binoculars you do get extra spotting power, but you're still only going up to the max view range, so it helps you out as opposed to optics when you're trying to spot people through bushes. But that has absolutely no application on this map at all whatsoever. The gun, however, will of course come in very, very useful. So that's the second kill. Yeah, second kill for the Befehlswagen. He's having to play very reactively, and you do when you're playing this machine, just because it's so slow. This is the big Achilles heel of this, that and the lack of armour. Not that that's unique at this tier for a tank destroyer, of course, but just the sheer slowness, the underpowered nature of this. It's got one of the worst horsepower per ton ratios of all of the low tier tanks, I think. It's pretty damn bad, which means you're never really going to be able to go on the offensive under normal circumstances. There might be some limited circumstances where you could make a push and spot for yourself going forwards and try and hit them before they hit you, especially if you've got bush cover to move to. But in this particular scenario, that just doesn't apply. So he really has to rely on passing shots at enemies, hitting enemies when they're up on the high ground, and this is also where the view range is coming in useful, because he's being able to spot people without them spotting him necessarily. So it's been a bit of a chaotic slaughter so far. His own team is down to now just 2 other tanks besides the Befehlswagen. The enemy team, there's still half of them left, but quite a lot of them are damaged, and therefore are one-shots for this very, very good 75mm gun. So if Befehlswagen can beat them to the punch and not take the hits, there's a chance of doing this. But they have to be careful, because they're going to be trading health to do damage potentially, and in a tier 3 tank destroyer you've only got so much health. I've got to say here, I suspect the last piece of equipment, because obviously we can see the binos and the camo net, I suspect the last piece of equipment is going to be a gun rammer. They've almost certainly also got a very good crew in this thing, which at low tiers, just even having 100% crew at low tiers can sometimes feel like cheating when you are playing against all the other people that have terrible crews. But in this case, you know, having that reload is obviously going to help out a lot. It's a very quick reload, it's a very quick aim time, just the base aim time. But versus this Toldi, yeah, he's going to take some hits. There's no avoiding it whatsoever. So with the AMX-38 that was trying to cap the enemy base, dying to the Su-76M, that just leaves them alone versus 2 enemies. So on half health, either the Vespa or the Su-76 I think could kill him, especially if the Su has the presence of mind to use HE, which is actually what Befehlswagen has loaded. He took out that Valentine at the... was it Valentine? I can't remember, but the British tank destroyer, you know, whatever it was, they took them out at the start with HE, and now they're using it again to great effect. So there we go. Just beats that Su-76 to the punch, is able to finish them both off in a matter of seconds, and with that 10th and final kill, that brought home the victory. It also brought home an ace, Top Gun, high caliber, and they also got a Defender's Medal out of that as well. So you wouldn't expect to be able to do that on this map necessarily, but the fact that it's tier 3, the fact that he didn't have to travel very far, it's a small map, the fact that he's obviously got a good crew, and it's a very good gun and a very good reload, meant that, yeah, 1200 base XP in a tier 3 top tier game, that's, you know, not unimpressive, but you need something like the FCM to be able to give you that kind of result. So yeah, it's not at all balanced. It is definitely overpowered, but sometimes these replays of overpowered machines can be interesting to watch anyway, even if you know it's overpowered. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and if you have, you can leave any comments below, you can hit that like button, you can sub to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, stay tuned for more.